Welcome to the John Show with your hosts, John Doogie Clouser.
All right. What's going on, everyone? How are you? We are here on a new episode of the Juan Solo Show with your host, me, Juan D. Clouser. It's episode 183. Welcome. What's up? So I just had a coughing fit. That was crazy. Now I'm going to be sniffling probably for a quick minute. Well, I hope you guys are doing way better than I am. So, yeah. Anyway, what's up? How are you? We're good. Good? You good? Good? Okay, good. This is just the summer that I turned not ugly. What is I don't even know the name of that goddamn show. What is it? Okay, the summer I turned pretty. Don't ask me why, but I just been watching that. It's so hard to watch that teeny bopper stuff. There's just some writing that just irritates the living Frenchman's fuck out of me. It irritates me so much. So there's the writing that uses the talk and don't show me anything kind of examples, like the Irishman. That's like one of the best examples. The Irishman, and I just watched last night. Like you're so not invited to my bar mitzvah. Like that was the new Adam Sandler movie. Both of those movies go nowhere. All it is just one. Well, the bar mitzvah movie is just a bunch of fucking Jews just talking, then going. Cut to a new scene, them just in a different location and just talking about the same thing over and over again. And the Irishman is just a bunch of goombops just fucking walking around and dunking their goddamn bread in a fucking wine, which is horrifically gross. I sound like the coach for the Jets, because every other word is like, we're gonna fuck this, we're gonna fuck that, we're gonna just fucking Frenchman's fuck. All right, okay, I just got all, okay, I should be good now. That should be all the F words that I need. I am like, it's so, I don't know, I'm kind of like, John, you just need to get this fucking podcast done. I should have done this morning before I went to golf, and then it would have made golf even better. But, I didn't do that. I waited till the very last minute. It's 10:30 p.m. On a Sunday, and I have to work tomorrow at 9 a.m., and I'm like, this is the best time to do the podcast. Why not? But yeah, the summer I turned pretty. Apparently, it's based off of a book. The show is horrific. It's just this girl who's 16 years old and has no fucking clue what she wants in her whole life. And we've all been 16 years old. That's the thing. Like, we're meant to not know what we want, but we're not meant. There's not meant to be a show about it. I'm just being angry because I just don't like things, because they do to me. I feel like when you do writing and you write a script and you put in, like, I can understand having a phone conversation. I get that. Even I think that is kind of lazy, and it just is like, because all it is bouncing heads. You just boom, 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 and it's just so hard to film that. But it's not hard to film it. It's just so boring to film it. And then like you're asking the audience to just fucking sit there. Again, I'm cussing. You're just asking the audience just to sit there and absorb dipshit, like just dumbness, versus just you could be showing them all this stuff. You could be putting I just feel like there's a better way of putting your characters in an environment. And then the worst I hate, the thing I hate the most is the FaceTime. I hate the FaceTime scenes in movies and TV shows. I hate it all. I just don't think it's gonna age well. There's certain things like that this don't cinematically just don't age gracefully in film. And to me, I just feel like it's not going to do it, and it just seems so gross. And I understand it's the time, because that's what we do. Right now, this is what we do. Everyone faces times. Everybody. It's a normal thing. It just doesn't it just comes off like a weird put in to me. And I'm like, I'm sitting here, I'm trying to think, like, what are some weird things that, like, so, like, whew, I guess, like, when you see in, like, every scene, people are smoking, like, always pulling out cigarettes, and because, like, that's not society anymore. That's something, but, like, it's just, like, I always come from the mindset, and maybe I'm just, like, closed-minded, I'm being too simple, and I could easily be that, because, like, I'm coming from the mindset of, like, oh, I just don't have the budget, or not even, like, the budget. It's not even that. It's just that it doesn't, to me, it just doesn't come off like good entertainment. Why would you do that to your audience? Just having two talking heads, and then there's like a screen, and you're recording a screen. It just seems like a lot of extra work for nothing. You're filming a screen with a screen. It's just, to me, it just seems kind of counterproductive. I could go on and on about this because it just annoys the living shit out of me, because I'm just going to feel like it's just not going to age well. It's just not going to age well. Kind of like, things that don't age well, like when they used to, okay, prime example, this might be a little different. This might be a stretch, and I understand this because, like, I'm not making a good argument for my opinion. To me, it just comes off lazy, and it just comes off not necessary. You could have put your characters in a way better situation to have told this information. So that's just my fucking opinion. That's just my thing. Like, and I understand, like, some characters are far away, they're far apart, so you have to find a way to have them come together in a way. But it's still the same thing. It's like the Skype shit. That stuff doesn't. That stuff's just not going to age well. It's just not. Same thing with, like, text messaging on old, like, flip phones and stuff like that. It just doesn't age well. It doesn't look good. It doesn't. I don't know. It just kind of. I feel like it just pushes you out of this. It pushes you out of the story to a point, because you're just, like, thinking of, like, a nostalgic, or you're thinking of, like, oh wow, that's such a weird thing. I don't. And I could easily be wrong on this. I feel like I could easily be wrong, but to me, it just seems like I would just try as a writer. I would write that in and be a filler, and then go back and be like, okay, I have to add or change this, because these characters are not. This is not a great way for them to meet. It's not a good way for them to interact with each other, to inform the audience information. It's just not, because but I don't like talking heads. I don't like a lot of just straight up scene to scene dialogue. I just think that's, I don't know. There's certain things you don't want to do. You don't want to write about writing. You don't want to talk. You don't want to have your whole story go and then it end up being like a dream at the very end. It just comes off bad. It just comes off lazy. There's, like, the hand of God stuff. Like in Jurassic Park 4, when the T-Rex was about to eat the people, and then it was right by the water, and that other dinosaur came and grabbed it and dragged it into the water and ate it. Like, that's just like a hand of God thing. So it just feels like the writer wrote itself, and he or she, them or they, wrote themselves into a wall or into a corner, and now they can't. They're just kind of like sitting there and are done. Now, don't get me wrong. I do that all the time. The story I'm working on right now, kind of feel like I've written myself into a wall. The end of Act 2 and the beginning of Act 3 is in shambles right now, because I'm almost finished with the story. I have probably, like, maybe 1,000 words left, maybe. I'm hoping, because after I get this done, I'm just going to record tonight, edit tomorrow, tonight, then, I'm going to be editing. I have to write, tonight is 600 words, because I didn't write yesterday. It's great. And it was so fun. I remember when I first started really, like, writing all the time. I remember I was like, oh my God, 300 words is so hard. I can best out 300 words in like 30 minutes. It's really not that fucking difficult. It's the whole point of it is just for me, the hardest part, that sucked. The hardest part is just like that, the the 2 to 3 minutes that it takes to get yourself back into that world of the story, because you're writing. What I do sometimes, I'll just write, because it's 300 words sometimes not the most easiest, and so when you hammer it and you get it done, you're like, okay, I'm done, and you just drop it. I just drop it and move on with my day, because there's no need to continuously harp about it. And when I do that, the next day tends to be a little bit more difficult for me to jump into it, because I forcefully jump myself out of it. So it's like you have to have that same energy to go back into your story the next day. It's just, you're just woof, 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 woof. So, but what's another thing? I saw Strays today, because today was National Cinema Day. So movies were $4. Pretty good movies. Right? It was a story. It had Will Ferrell and Jamie Foxx, and they play like two dogs, and it's just like voiceover. It's just the dogs talk, and it's just it's funny, because it's like it's funny to put animals into human situations and have them basically have human problems. I thought what was so much fun about it was the fact that it got in and you figured out what the problem was and you got out. There was none of this extra like backstory and all this stuff. Like any of the backstory you got with it, and it just pushed along. It just moved along. Boom, 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 boom. So like every level that the character moved up, as in the sense of like challenges and obstacles, like you learned a little bit more about your characters, and it was like the perfect, like, boom. It was juggled really well as a script. It was juggled very, very, very well. Like the only thing is, like, there were so many kids in the movie. There were so many kids, like 6, 7, 8-year-old kids. And this is a rated R movie, and there's like so much raunchiness in that. Like they're talking, like, there's this big bloodhound, and like the whole point of it, like it was like this big dog. It was like the biggest dog in the movie, and it was just like super shy and super timid, and like the whole thing was like, you need to have big dick energy, and like, but the things like, you got the first part right. You have the first part, you have a big dick, and like they would like have close-ups on the dog's dick and shit. They made a running joke with it. It was hilarious. It was very similar to Sausage Party, and not like story-wise, but just in the sense of like pacing and ability to, like, anything you needed to learn backstory-wise, it was thrown at you at the same time as you were going forward. Instead of, like, that's the one thing I absolutely can't stand about superhero movies, is that the first hour is all this backstory, all this stuff, and like, you guys can keep the story running, and like it's like what happens is it just turns out that the movie feels like it's two different movies. It's like backstory, and then the actual movie happens. It's like, you guys can cut in between that. You could actually edit the story, or you could write the story like how you have it, and then you can blend it together more. It's like, just push it together and make it more interesting, like backstory. Like, it's just massive. It's like, let me tell you all this backstory, and now we can tell you this, like, now here's the main story. It's like, no, that's not how. It just comes off it just comes off rough, and like, maybe though, and I feel like the reason why my brain is like this now is because I'm always like, okay, how's this working? I'm always like thinking like, okay, how my story is like, it's like Act 1, what's Act 2, what's gonna be Act 3, and then I guess if you want to have like some people have like an Act 4 where it kind of closes everything off, but you could always do like the Indian method. Oh God, have you ever watched any Bollywood movies? Bollywood movies are the craziest movies, because what they will do, it can be like almost like 3 to 4 movies put together. And they're so long too. But the thing is, like, that's a cultural thing, because how I've been told and what I've heard is that because there's not much things to be happy about in India, I guess, because there's so many people. Like there's a lot of poorness. There's it's hunger. That kind of stuff. So they make these movies so bright and colorful and like so long because it's supposed to be an escapism for humanity, the humans of but and that's just why but like with us, like we want this entertainment, but it's like this Americans have like this fucked up attention span. Like we have to like keep on going. I just don't get it. Like I can understand like falling asleep, but I don't understand like watching a movie and then like having to pull out your phone and like flip around your phone. Like why are you doing both? Like you can't. You're not getting anything from either one. Your brain is just like fucking itself. It's just like just poking itself in the fucking dick. You're not like why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? But yeah, Stray's a good movie. I'm not fully done with the Swamp Kings. That's the documentary on the Florida Gators, the 06 to the 09 teams. Oh, that shit's wild. When Cam Newton, Tim Tebow, Chris Leak, Percy Harvin, Brandon is it Brandon or James Brandon Statham, defensive player, Stockton maybe, I don't know. Anyway, it's a great one. I'd recommend that too. Yeah, The Summer I Turned Pretty. I don't know why. Watch it. It's actually not that bad. I'm talking shit on it, but clearly if I'm talking shit, that means it somehow penetrated my brain enough where I have connected somehow with, or I think it's just like I feel like, for me again, I'm in a place right now where like I'm like absorbing stuff. So I'm just like engaging all these films I've never watched, or these storylines that I would not normally even entertain, but I'm entertaining them because I'm like, oh, I'm just in this mindset of like, oh, I just need to be like absorbing storylines, absorbing how characters interact with each other, so it will only help with my stories. And then, what was it? I watched another one. Oh, last night I watched this really interesting. It's on Netflix, and I recommend this one out of all the things I've mentioned. Is a classic horror story. I believe that's what it's called. Let me make sure. A classic horror story. Yeah, it's made in 2001. It's on Netflix right now. It's all in Italian. I mean, you can watch it. It got a 5.7 out of 10. I'm not saying this movie's great. I just like it because, one, it's Italian and it's a foreign film, and you get this really feeling of this cool foreign film, but with an American but it's shot like an American movie, and the sense of like it's not all artistic, and it's not shot like on 18 millimeter film or anything like that. It's not, or 8 millimeter or like super 8. It's not anything like that. It's just filmed. It's filmed on a red camera, but it's just a pretty easy storyline. The main character is a woman. She's trying to go from one city to another in Italy. She basically takes, so the storyline says that, or has it that, there's these vans, and, it's basically like an Uber, but for like long distance trips. So like these like caravans that like you can sleep in and stuff. One of those things, like a Sprinter van, like a Mercedes-Benz Sprinter van. It's one of those things. And so there's all the different kids. There's like a doctor, there's a couple, there's a guy who's trying to be a filmmaker, who's a stoner. You have then like this girl who like she may or may not be pregnant. Or, you feel like there's you feel like the more the story goes along, the more you start feeling like she is somewhat connected to the antagonists, because they played like it's like almost like a three-headed dragon kind of antagonist. So there's three of them. So there's like basically like three demon-ish sacrificer people-ish things, and then what happens is that, like, periodically everyone starts getting cut off, but it's like, like a stereotypical movie in that sense, like, someone breaks their leg, then they end up being like the first person that ends up getting killed, and it's those kind of simple things. And the next thing's like, then it's a girl. Like, it might be, maybe a girl, maybe not be. I'm not trying to like spoil it for you, but it's just very cool, and you have to read. Sorry, but you can. It is in English, and it's okay, but it's always better. My mindset is the director filmed it in Italian. You should watch it in Italian, because you're not gonna get the same. You might not understand what they're saying, but you're gonna be able to read the text, and then you're gonna hear how things are delivered, and you can tell by those subtexts if it's like sad, happy, scared, that kind of stuff. And it's easier. It's way better. Just do that. And plus, then you can tell everyone, because Americans love to brag about this kind of shit. Then you can feel like you're cultured, and you've done more than everyone else. Like, I watched a movie that was in Italian, and I had to read it, and it's like, let's be real. Reading for an hour and a half is probably the most reading you've done in fucking years. Let's be real. Like, you don't sit down and be like, I'm going to spend 20 minutes now and read. You don't do that. You're not doing that at all. At fucking all. No, at all. Okay, so what else do we have? That's like all the movie stuff. Was it that Wagner dude died? Wagner Group. The Wagner Group. Yeah. What's his name? Chief. Let's see. Let's look it up. Chief Prigozhin. So this guy, let's do a little bit of a bio on Chief Prigozhin. So let's go on Wikipedia. Article is currently being heavily edited because the subject is recent. Disclaimer. This article may be affected by the following current events, as in a plane crash. Yeah, so he died in a plane crash, right? If you're not familiar with him. So there's this country called Russia. And Russia has had this problem with the United States for a while now. There's the Cold War, all that stuff. Apparently, we may or may not have gone to the moon, and the only reason why we say we did go to the moon was to bankrupt Russia, which is, I don't fucking know. We're America. We're too fucking stupid to keep a secret like that. There's no way that we could have not gone to the moon, but say we've gone to the moon and kept that a secret. There's no way in hell. There's no way. There would be someone who would have wanted to talk, and it would have just ruined the whole goddamn thing. It's so rough. It's just the reason why. And people are like, why you never see this stuff in other countries? Why don't you ever see this stuff? Because they don't have the fucking time. Because we're the best. Because we got time. Do you understand what we can do? We can make millions of dollars and play golf in the same fucking day. Can you do that? Nope, I don't think you can. But America can. And then America, like, during when they're playing golf, they'll listen to a podcast. And that podcast will talk about how the earth is flat and how there's just why can't we go to Antarctica? Why in the fuck would we want to go to Antarctica? There's nothing there. The other thing that's there is scientists, and they're digging holes into the ground. And are you going to dig a hole in the ground? No, you can't even tell me the difference or do the equation from Celsius to Fahrenheit, you cunt. So don't sit here and tell me, oh, the earth is flat. Under what pretexts? And another thing, if I have to hear another goddamn person tell me how they're going on a fucking detox, I'm going to shoot them. I'm going to shoot him in the goddamn nuts, because it's fucking annoying. Because when I hear someone say that, like, yeah, I'm going on a detox, and I'm going to get rid of all these toxins in my body. It's like, I'm like, I want to give him a piece of paper and a pen and be like, One. Name me one toxin that you tell me, Mr. fucking scientist. Dude, I just saw you take a bong hit and down 18 beers yesterday and become a sloppy cunt. So, like, don't tell me that you know the first thing about some fucking toxin that's in your body, you dick. Like, no, you don't. You don't. You don't. Stop. Stop. But that's America. That's America. That's summer in America. We just have this super fucking high opinion of ourselves, and then things like 9/11 happen, and we're like, can you believe it happened? Can you believe that someone would wanna blow us up? Like, yeah, I kind of do, because we're kind of assholes. We're dickheads about every little thing. We want to talk about how, during, like, remember, like, the Red Scare and the communism time, and, like, kill a commie for your mommy, and if you know someone who's, like, follows the red state, like, you need to report them so they get blacklisted. Like, there's no difference between that. They want to say that was such a barbaric time. It's like, that was the same shit. The same shit's going on right now. Like, someone dead named somebody, and apparently that's like, I'm not saying being an asshole. I'm saying, like, I'm sorry if I spent over 30 years of my life knowing someone is something like this. Like, you got to give me some buffer. Hell, I'm giving you expect me to give you a buffer, but you know what's so funny? It's like the same people who are screaming and yelling like how things aren't fucking fair, and as soon as they get the fucking power, because they're the reason why they were so upset. It's like, for the longest time, I've been bullied. I haven't been able to be who I want to be. And then the moment they get power, what do? They become a pure fucking scurvy ass cunt. The same thing that they were upset about, they become, because they're a dickhead. You know why? It's not because of anything, because it has nothing to do with it. It's because they're American, and it's America, because we're fucking narcissistic as shit. We are so narcissistic, and you wonder why. 9/11 happens. Things like 9/11. We're like, I can't believe that this. Can you believe that January 6th happened? Can you believe that? Yeah, because we're entitled fuckheads that think that we don't deserve anything. No, because what would happen if any of us were to talk shit? It would be what happened. We'd be on a fucking plane and it'd get shot down, and that's what would happen. We'd get killed. We would just be blown away, because there's too many of us here in America that have lived a life without ever having the fear of getting punched in the face. And I'm sorry. Once you have once you've been punched in the face, you think, if you're a smart enough person as a man, you're like, yeah, there's probably something I did here that caused this. So maybe I should change. But there's some people, though, have never done that. They've never had that. So they just bark and bark like a little yappy dog. And then guess what? They get fucking popped and they want to scream and yell. Like, can you believe someone would do that to me? It's like, yes, you're lucky that's all that happened to you, you little fucking dick, you tiny cunt. Well, anyway, well, I pulled that one out. I got about a minute left on this podcast. So if you got this far, I doubt you did. But like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you guys next week. You wouldn't know that I had a great day, and I played a decent amount of golf. You wouldn't know that, and I'm just happy as a clam. You wouldn't know that with like the last 10 minutes of me just screaming and yelling about how ignorant America is. I love us, though. I'm here, not in Honduras. All right, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.